incoming sophomore at Limerick High School and a student here at BlueStamp making this omnidirectional robot. So what is an omnidirectional robot, right? It's kind of like a remote control car, but slightly different. So before talking about my project, let's take it for a drive. So that's about the gist of it. And as you could see, you know how in like a normal car, while taking a sharp turn, you have to go forward and backward, and forward and backward just to take the sharp turn. Well, with an omnidirectional robot, you don't, because it can travel in any direction with zero angular momentum. And basically, it has something called holonomic drive, which means it can move in the x-axis, y-axis, and rotate independently. Whereas like a Nissan or a Prius cannot. Basically, in layman's terms, all that trouble with parallel parking, yeah, it's gone with an omnidirectional robot. It actually happens because of these wheels right here. These wheels, let's turn it off. These wheels have these rollers on them, which allow it to skid in any direction with minimal friction. Now, specifically about my robot is remote controlled with these ultrasonic sensors for obstacle detection and avoidance. I used Arduino, which is basically an open source platform for software and also a company that makes microcontrollers. I used my Arduino board to control 3 servo motors, 3 ultrasonic sensors, and a PS2 controller. Now, basically, what the driver does is that he drives the robot, but if it sees an obstacle in front of it, it'll actually move until it's 10 centimeters away from it. Yeah. I'm also working on autonomy so that it can solve a maze using Dijkstra's theorem in the shortest path possible. Now, aside from taking my robot home, I also took a plethora of experiences from my time here at BlueStamp. I would like to talk about one challenge I faced during the making of this obstacle avoidance modification. So the first time I tested this obstacle avoidance modification, it actually crashed into a wall, which is like literally the exact opposite of what it's supposed to do. And it turned out there were a few bugs in my code, and that marked the hardest challenge that I've had to face here at BlueStamp. So I troubleshot, and I rewrote code and I tested it with no prevail. I would write a piece of code and then another problem would pop up, and I'd solve that and the code didn't work. Yeah, I tested I think a total of 27 times, and finally I got it to work. So it turns out that there's a global variable in my code which had the same name as a local function variable that I was calling. There was a problem with scope, there was a problem with my loop and how my if-else statements were ordered. There are a bunch of other problems too. But after modularizing and after going and reading through the code multiple times, I was able to figure out most of the bugs. From this process, I really learned that engineering requires a lot of patience and compromise. And I really like my time here at BlueStamp, and I hope to see where engineering takes me in the future.
Any questions?
Sure.
So why does one of the sensors move?
Oh yes, so that's actually for the autonomous thing that I'm doing. So basically, in a maze, there are only right angles. And these are 120-degree angles from one another. So basically, instead of having these 3, I decided only to have one sensor, which moves in the direction that my robot is moving, since it can move in any direction. And it'll sense the obstacle that it's going to be going into. So like there's a wall here, and like there is a turn this way in the maze. This would be turned this way because the robot was going like that, and it would sense the wall. Yeah.
What is the program you use for that? What is the programming language? And
I think it's like a mix between C++ and C. It's something special for Arduino. Yeah. Yes.
How many lines of code did you have to write?
Oh, I don't know. Like 100. Yeah. Yes.
How do you make it so that's what you do?
Oh, that's a good question. So basically, when I ordered the PS2 controller, it came with this thing. This is called a receiver. And basically, this sends a signal to the receiver, and the receiver gives the signal to the Arduino. And the Arduino is like a really small computer, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
You said that you tried 27 times. Are you keeping track somewhere of like every try?
Honestly, I was in my head, yeah.
25,
26, 27, yeah.